Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Blind Squirrel Talk, famous in a small town. I'm Lulu.
I'm Kim.
And this is Kelsey McKnight. And we're happy to have you here today. Thanks for coming out. And I think everybody's going to be really excited because she's going to talk about a topic that we all need to learn a lot about, and that is investing. Right?
Absolutely.
Well, these young people out there need to be investing early because I didn't start when I should have. Agreed?
Agreed.
You need to be doing it, your first job, getting into 401k, doing anything you can.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The earlier, the better.
Yes.
And like you said, we found out the hard way.
Yeah, because now I'm like, can we retire? I don't know if we can
Ever?
retire.
Ever? So Kelsey, tell us, how did you get started in your journey of helping people with investing, and what do you do? What does it entail? What do people need to know? Pretend like we are brand new investors. We are clueless. Tell us how you got there, and what do we need to do?
Awesome. Well, yeah, I got started. Actually, it's kind of a family history thing. So my great uncle in Louisiana started with Edward Jones back in the 60s. And so passed that down to my dad, kind of the legacy of Edward Jones. So my dad started with the company in 1995 in Elbert County, not too far from here. And then, so I just kind of grew up with the company and saw what a wonderful career it was. And I've always enjoyed just helping people and always loved math and finance. And so started my journey in college with taking the finance path and graduated with a finance degree and got hired with Edward Jones back in 2011. So this is my 14th year this month with the company. And so, yeah, just excited to just partner with people and help them reach their long-term goals through investing. And like you said, absolutely, starting young is the best thing you can do. Time in the market is your best friend. So I try to encourage even, high school students, college students that have a job, save now while you can before you have a family and kids and finances get a little bit tighter and things get a little bit harder. So absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Nice. Wish I'd have known that.
Yeah.
Me too. Why was that not a thing? It was not a thing when
We were never taught that.
Right.
I mean, that was actually, finances were taboo and they weren't mentioned.
Right.
That was
I
never
think
talked
the
about.
most I ever did in school was learn how to balance a checkbook.
Right. And now they don't even teach that,
No.
hardly anymore. It's like, oh, credit cards, spend as much as you can. Just don't go over your credit limit, and things like that.
Which
So,
is not helping anybody.
not at all.
No favors here.
Not at all. And so, investing can be tricky, because there's always, pros and cons. Different investments have different risks involved. And so I think that can scare some people. But creating a plan and sticking with that, long term is what we try to do and help people find things that are appropriate for them. So.
And how do you do that? I mean, how do you figure out what's the best for, say, us
I think
versus
I don't
our
know
children?
if it's still commonplace, but I think 20 years ago when we started doing a little bit of investing, and I'm old, so I was somewhat old then. It was don't take as many risks as you get older. But when you're young, do all the risk taking you want with your money. Because typically, if you've got a good advisor, they're not going to steer you too wrong.
Exactly. So we incorporate that in how we figure out what investments are appropriate for clients. We usually are first finding out what their goal is. Is it retirement, down the road? Is it saving for their kids' college education? Is it, I want to be able to buy a home down the road? Whatever their goal is, we kind of take that time horizon that we have to work with. Maybe it's 10 years, maybe it's only 6 months, maybe it's 20, 30 years down the road for retirement. And then we couple that with, well, what's your risk tolerance? How comfortable are you with different investment options? Some investments are a little bit more risky than others are a little bit more conservative, and depending on kind of your age, how long you have to work with here and your personal risk tolerance, we can kind of steer you in the right direction as far as what type of investments and portfolio is appropriate for your situation.
So what is your typical client, or is there such thing?
Really, there's no such thing as a typical
okay.
client. It's just someone who's willing to, be serious about saving and investing, and someone that is willing to take our advice. I think that's the biggest thing is, there's all these other opinions out there, TikTok and Facebook, Instagram, you see all these reels now of just people that have really even no experience or education, just spouting information. And so a lot of times that can be misinformation. So we take our job very seriously. Most of the time we're dealing with people's hard-earned money.
Right.
A lot of times it's passed down generation to generation. And so
the one thing that I felt like when I talked to you was that I felt like you were going to treat my money like it was your money.
Absolutely.
And that made me comfortable.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely. Because it's a big deal to come into a community and serve that community. Your reputation is going to be found out pretty quickly.
Especially in small towns.
You look so
Absolutely.
good. I keep staring at you. She just had a baby 3 months ago.
Thank you.
You do. You look so fresh, and your hair is so healthy. You look great.
And we know you've had no sleep in 3 months.
Last night was a rough night, I'll be honest. Yeah. I think I've been awake since about 4 a.m. So
Oh
yeah.
gosh, well, we'll do our best to get you out of here.
No.
So if a young person comes into your office, let's just say they're in college, they have a part-time job, obviously they're looking long-term.
Yeah.
How much money would they need up front to begin an investment?
Yeah, I mean, we take everything from $100 to $100 million.
Okay, I didn't
We
know
can
that.
start with any amount that someone has available. Absolutely. So, for our younger clients that do have jobs, we really encourage them to do what's called a Roth IRA. So a Roth IRA is a vehicle and a bucket. An IRA stands for individual retirement account. So a Roth IRA is actually an after-tax bucket of money. So you can't get a tax deduction on it now, but it's a bucket of money that's completely sheltered from taxes. So any money that you put into a Roth IRA, when you turn age 59 and a half, anything that you've put into that account plus any growth is completely sheltered from taxes. So it's a great long-term retirement vehicle for our younger people to shove money into, where they can have money built up for retirement that's completely tax-free, where they won't have to pay any taxes down the road. So that's often times what we encourage our younger clients to do is go ahead and start, looking towards retirement. People are like, that's 40 years, 50 years down the road. I don't need to worry about right now. But like we said, time is your best friend. If you can start now,
I
even
need
if
to start one for the grandkids.
even if it's $50, $100 a month, do something now while you can. So
Well, that brings up a
absolutely.
good concept. Could Kim start one for her grandchildren, or how does that work?
That's a great question. So you have to have earned income to be able to contribute to a Roth IRA.
Okay.
But there are accounts that you can contribute to for minors. And then there's so many changes that have happened in our industry over the last few years. In relation to the Department of Labor and fiduciary standards and all these things, but
I love that word.
but there are accounts that you can contribute to now, and that if the child doesn't use it for education purposes, they can actually convert it to a Roth IRA down the road.
Interesting, okay.
Yep. So
Nice.
that's a new rule that came out a couple years ago, and they've each investment company has kind of had to interpret the rule and be able to implement it on their side. So Edward Jones will be able to implement that later this year in accordance to the new law that came out.
So the benefits of that would be that the kids would get a jump start on their Roth IRA.
Absolutely, yes. And the account that you can put it into is like a 529 account and an education account typically. And some people are hesitant to put a lot of money into those. They're like, well, what if my kid doesn't want to go to college and they don't end up using it for education? Well, now with these new rules in place, we
They can transfer it to something else.
Yes, where it could be more long-term money for retirement,
Nice.
which is a great tool. Yeah.
So having been with Edward Jones for 14 years, you've seen small amounts transform into large amounts. That's got to be exciting for you.
It is. It is exciting. And to see people just kind of reach their goals of, coming into retirement planning in the beginning stages, and then they're like, oh, I can actually do it. I can retire. And, we see it all, from the good to the sad.
Yeah. So, we talked about the younger kids investing. What about somebody who hasn't invested anything? They're 50 years old. The reality of the fourth quarter is setting in.
Yeah.
What do they do?
Yeah. I would say start now.
Yeah.
Even if they feel like they're late in the game, do everything that they can to set themselves up for success.
Are there catch-up methods that people can do?
A little bit, over the age of 50, they're able to contribute a little bit more than someone that's under the age of 50. So, there are rules in place that allow them to contribute more and catch up. They call a catch-up contribution to retirement accounts and things as such. Or just start with even just a regular brokerage account. Maybe it's not a retirement account, but a brokerage account where they start, shoving money into regularly to have a nest egg built up. Just do something, to where you can have something set aside for down the road. Absolutely. And maybe you take a little bit more risk. We don't have as long to work with, so you haven't prepared as well. So maybe we have to work with some investments and we don't use anything aggressive, but maybe we work with something that is a little bit more growth oriented versus income oriented. Take a little bit more risk involved, but they have to catch up from where, maybe they didn't plan as well early on.
Yeah.
So those are just tougher conversations to have sometimes in figuring out what the best strategy is.
So in your 14 years, have you seen more or fewer younger people starting to invest? Like, has it grown or?
I would say it's been about the same.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been kind of consistent. I don't feel like I've seen much of a change.
Okay.
There are still younger ones that come in and are serious about investing, which is exciting to see, especially in the generation that we're in currently. I feel like it's just not top or high priority for younger people to think long term.
I'm worried about our younger people.
Yes, yes. We have like what they call the microwave generation, where everybody wants it instantly.
Instant gratification, baby.
Yes, yeah. And so planning more long term can sometimes be a little bit more difficult.
Do you feel like a huge weight on your shoulders sometimes? Oh, I have to do the best for this person. I wonder if this is the best thing. Should I go this way? How do you?
Sometimes, absolutely, sometimes, because you're offering advice to to people and your clients, and you want to do what's best for them. But you also realize that there's a lot of factors that we can't control. And so, what's going on in the economy and the market, there are just things that we can't control. So we often just try to be a voice of reason to our clients.
Yeah.
And, time has shown that investing for the long term, the markets will perform, even if there's a year where it's down 20%, which those are hard years to review people's accounts because they're really down and they're.
How do you think things are moving this year after the election? And
Yeah, we got kind of a rough start. We've had a little bit of ups and downs so far. I think there's always a little bit of turmoil during the election year, but things look to be good on the horizon.
Good.
Yeah, I think especially after the president's speech and all, I think we will see things settle down a little bit, and hopefully it'll just keep moving in the right
Right
direction.
direction,
So, but things look good from what we can see. Like, we never know what's going to happen tomorrow, and what the world, something else in the world could happen, and then overseas that triggers something on our end, as well. But yeah, things look good so far. So
When the market's down, does your phone ring more?
yes, typically
How do you handle that?
we've tried to train our clients,
Yeah.
that let's just write it out, it'll come back, but I mean, it's hard to watch your hard-earned money, drop in
It
value.
dropped a lot here recently.
Yes,
I
yes.
don't look.
Yes, yeah.
I don't look.
And we try to tell clients, you haven't lost it until you've sold it.
Right.
So when you actually sell, that's when you capitalize on that loss. So we
Right.
try to encourage them just to hold on,
Ride
hold
it
tight. Typically, when it's a downturn, the next year it's a fantastic year, and it does above and beyond what you lost. So, but it is tough, to, like I said, have those conversations with people and just say, hold on.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have to make adjustments. Sometimes people are just, unwilling to ride it out, and that's okay too, because we want to do what's best for them. And if it's going to cause more anxiety for them to just
Right,
persevere
right.
through it, then sometimes it's better just to, okay, let's make a change. Let's do what we can to salvage the situation and just go a different route, and let's get a little bit more conservative if we have to. So
How do you keep up with all the law changes and the different opportunities people have? I mean, how do you keep up with all the stuff?
Do you have to do continuing education?
absolutely,
Okay.
continuing education, and thankfully, being with Edward Jones, the company, they're constantly pushing out new information, allowing us the opportunity to go through different training courses throughout the year to make sure that we're knowledgeable enough to keep up with all the changes. So yes, our industry has drastically changed just within the last 5 years, I would say, with the new laws and things that have been implemented, and we'll probably always continue to see that, as different presidencies and things come into play, there will just always be change. So it's always a learning curve. It's never a boring job, Yeah.
When I go in your office, from the first time I went in there, they always know my name. I walk in, hey Lulu, how are you? And I'm like, I know y'all must have 5,000 clients in a day, but yet they're like, hey Lulu, I'm like, it always amazes me. I feel like I'm going home for supper.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Do you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing, and I don't know who knew it, but because Kelsey didn't know that Kathy had passed away.
Yeah.
Somebody from Edward Jones sent me a condolence,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was like, I don't think I told them.
Yeah.
But I mean, how nice is that?
Right,
Yeah.
how thoughtful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, on
We-
top of things.
That's just the model of Edward Jones, too. When the company was started over 100 years ago, the son of Edward Jones was Ted Jones, and he was a farmer and really just wanted to serve the community that he lived in. And so that's been the vision of Edward Jones ever since, is to
Wow.
just come
That's
into
huge.
come into the community, serve the community, get to know the people that you're serving. We didn't want to be the next big company in Atlanta that had 100 and 200 advisors just in one building, and they didn't know their clients and who they were. We get the opportunity to go to people's homes and sit down with them and, have a cup of coffee or eat dinner together,
Right.
or whatever it may be. So that's just the model of Edward Jones, and what makes it special is because we do have typically a very close-knit community with our clients, and we get to really have a relationship with them. So when something drastic happens in their lives, it hurts us too, because we know how much they hurt, and
It's
so
big.
it's
Huge.
yeah. It's special to be able to be invited in a lot of times. I know I've heard, Mark in my office and my dad, advisors that have been here for 20 and 30 years, talk about you know, they were the first phone call after their parent, you know, died. It was like, well, what do we do now? Are we okay? Or do we have money to cover this and that? And, you know, how big to be the first one to know
Right.
when someone has passed, just knowing that they could rely on us and count on us
Right.
to take care of them. So,
Yeah. I remember when I first told you about, I said, you have got to go to Commerce. You've got to go to the Edward Jones in Commerce.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they're just so nice. And I said, have you gone yet? Have you called them yet? Have you gone yet? I was like on you. Like, you've got to go. You've got to go. They're wonderful.
we're thankful. Thankful for you all.
Oh, we're
So,
thankful for
yeah.
you. And like you said, it is a community thing.
It is.
And you don't see that much anymore. And I
No.
think that even this generation, this younger generation, they want that. They may not think they want
Right.
that, but they want that.
They're
Right.
looking for it.
Yes,
They are.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And y'all can find it at Edward Jones.
Yes.
That's
And
right.
ask for Kelsey because she's the best.
Yeah.
Not that
Thank you.
Mark and the other girls aren't great. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all a team, so we all work together. But yes, we're happy to help in any way that we can. So yeah, thankful.
we appreciate. Well, let's talk kids real quick. 'Cause
Yeah.
That's my favorite subject. So you've got 3 now.
I do.
and you're sleep deprived.
yeah, just a little bit.
And how old are they?
Titus is 7, and then Cameron, she is 3, and then we have Elijah or Eli, and he's just turned 4 months. So yeah,
Are you
lots
through?
of fun. I don't know.
She's not.
Well, I would like to maybe have one more, but we'll see. I would be content stopping. You know, I'm not getting any younger. So
Well, how do you feel about the change from 2 to 3?
you know, it was much easier
Yes,
than 1 to 2.
yes.
1 to 2 was really hard. It was just a huge adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
2 to 3, it really has been a breeze, I would say. I mean, yes, he was early, preemie, so he was still very colicky, and we've, you know, had that to deal with. But overall, it's just like, oh yeah, another one. We're just, come on, we're going to the ball game. You're coming too, you know.
I felt that way too. When I had my 3rd one, it was just seemed
Yeah.
like she just was part of it. Let's go.
Exactly. Let's go. Yeah. So it's been fun. We're thankful for
Now, does
another
the
one.
oldest think, oh, I've got a baby doll now?
I was worried, you know, with him being a boy and the
Right.
older, you know, son, but he absolutely loves him. It's really special to see them interact. And
so great.
the baby, I mean, every time Titus comes home from school, Titus will spend a few minutes with him usually, and he just smiles at him so big. I mean, it's really sweet.
Aw.
Yeah. And our girl, she's well protected in between both of those boys. So
Yeah.
You better look out when they're teenagers.
that's right. That's right.
Wow. Wow. So do you have a financial plan in place for them already?
I do.
Tell us about that.
Absolutely.
Okay, because we know you've got the best one for them.
Absolutely, yeah. I just, like I said, starting early, I personally opened up just custodian accounts for each of the kids. So just an account where you can put money into, they can use it for whatever. It could be a car, college, whatever they may need, you know, sports camp when they're in high school, band camp, whatever,
Yeah.
you know, expenses may come up if they just want to save it for buying a house when they get a little bit older or something. So, yeah, I have opened up custodian accounts for the kids.
And you can do that for people through your office, right?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. As long as you have a date of birth and the child's social,
Yep,
we can get them
you're
started
good.
as little as 0 months, you know. So yeah,
good.
absolutely. So
At what point will you turn that into a different type of account for the
yeah,
kids?
with a custodian account, you're kind of the custodian over the account for the minor. And then in Georgia, the legal age is 21. So when the child becomes 21, it's legally their money. So you have to turn it over into an account just in their name.
Okay.
And then they get to make the decision.
They get to make the
that might
decision.
be a little bit scary at 21.
Maybe,
Yes.
maybe you don't tell them it's there.
Yeah, right. So some people, what they do is they, instead of putting it just in the child's name, they'll, you know, they'll open a joint account with the child as long as they have the child's permission, because it is legally their money at 21. So most of the time the child's like, yeah, I don't care, whatever you want to do, you know. So yeah.
Give me that money.
Yes, yeah. And you know, Sometimes what the parents will do is they'll say, well, yeah, we're going to save this and use it for the car. We're going to use this for college. We're going to try to deplete it before they get 21, or lower the balance in there a little bit, because if their child may not be as financially savvy and making wise decisions. But yeah, absolutely. Just having money built up down the road for the kids is.
And for the custodial account, anybody, a grandparent could do it, a sister, brother, aunt, uncle.
It could be anyone.
Anybody can do it.
Yeah, anyone, and anyone can contribute to it. Nice. So a lot of our, grandparents, like my parents, my kids don't need more toys. They've got plenty of toys. Give them $50 in their account for Christmas, or throw a little bit extra in there for birthday or Christmas, or if you want to do something special like that, where it will really last and grow for them down the road.
Smart.
Yeah.
So
Very smart. I feel like I've learned a lot about
Me
that.
too.
Yeah.
I wish I had saved half my money growing up and invested it.
Yes.
Just think of where we'd be now.
I know.
I know my dad started me off very young, being in finance, himself. So as a kid, he would always say, all right, if you give me $10, I'll match it. And so he, I'd give him money even as a kid. And one of the first things he bought me was Microsoft stock. As you can imagine now, it's just with technology and everything where it's at today, it's done really well.
Thank you, Dad.
Even that little bit that I had, very, very little, it's turned into not a ton, but a good amount. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Go Dad.
Yes.
Yeah. If people want to talk to you a little bit more about investing, if they want to invest, if they just have other questions, how would they get in touch with you? What should they do?
Yeah, the best way is you can find me on Facebook. You can go to our website, edwardjones.com, and look for Kelsey McKnight.
Okay.
There's a secure portal there where you can actually send me a message, or my email's there, or even just stopping by the office. That's what's great about us being local, is we have so many clients that just pop in. We're there from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. So there's, the girls are in the front and can take care of you and schedule an appointment.
And they'll come to you too.
Yes, absolutely. I go to many client houses, and so especially our elderly clients or people that have weird working hours. Sometimes it's just easier for us to go to them.
Right.
So.
And it's real easy. It's right in downtown Commerce.
Yeah.
You can park right up front. You have a great drink cooler with free drinks.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
I love that.
chocolates.
Yeah, right up front. That's the real reason I come in there all
That's
the time.
right. Yeah,
It's for the free
snacks.
drinks.
Yeah.
She's honest.
Yeah.
But it's great. Well, we appreciate it, and I think that we've probably piqued some people's interest.
If we haven't, you should watch it again.
And again, it doesn't matter how old. Doesn't matter how
that's
old.
right.
It's never too late to start. And I'm sure you could, for people that have waited maybe a little bit too long, you can give them advice.
Absolutely.
Answer questions, and I think it'd just be a great thing to do. Give them some peace of mind and
Yes.
some goals maybe to work towards.
Yes,
And
absolutely. Especially, retirement. People are like, when can I retire? Can I retire? We do that often. It's just, we have amazing software to be able to help people plan and, okay, this is what healthcare costs look like right now. This is what
they're
they're
not
gonna,
cheap.
this is what they're gonna probably look like in the future. Factoring in inflation, and then, what do you want to do in retirement? You want to travel? How much do you want to, buffer for all of these things? How much do you want to leave for your kids and grandkids? And so
have
sometimes
you had
it can
anybody
be.
say, "I want to spend it all"?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you really? Nothing for the kids.
That's
I wanna
right.
Spend it all.
And sometimes I'm like, you know what?
Good for you.
Good for you. You have worked hard for this. You enjoy it.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, we hope that people will call you and keep those drinks stocked, because
That's
I love coming and
right.
getting them.
Excited to
appreciate
help.
you, Kelsey.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
y'all.
so much. Thank you for all you're doing for the city.
Exactly. That's
Absolutely.
wonderful. I mean,
Yes.
that is a blessing, a true blessing.
It is. I'm excited to help, like I said. So thank you all. It's been great to be
You're
here.
welcome. You're welcome. So we hope y'all enjoyed listening to Kelsey and all the great advice she has. Please go to Edward Jones in downtown Commerce, look her up, and we will see y'all next time on the next edition of Blind Squirrel Talk, famous in a small town. I'm Lulu.
I'm Kim.
Kelsey.
Yay!
Bye.
Bye, y'all. See you next time.